Welcome everybody to the Community Wellness Series. We're going to start with an opening. Go ahead, Cleve.
Not so gwego. Taga hay dongi ni jaso. Ni got in yende. Don't know what ni kono hanyok. Wa dongot. Ni ga hisway hi kadoga. Wa ni ko hot so. Ni ga ton ho hawado. Ni gwego scano. Ni ga on a scot awado. Ni na wa ni ko hot so. Ni ji ango. Ni ndwa ye. Ni ga scot ha ni do no hanyo. Tanyo wina what ni shrinits. Taga ni tonk na wa ni ko hot. And on to ho guadi na no do na ya ne wado once again no ha di tino hon kwa ona ne danyo sa ho da na ni se goi hon da ton ho hawado no do tok scano kono tonyo scott hawado ne di tweet no ni ne na sanyo ne ha do once again do no ha di tino hon kwa da to ga ni tonk na ho ni go ha and on to ho guadi na no do na ya ne wado na gi ni kwa ge hoi ko kasun go hon touch nege san howe na ho yan he ona ko doga ha ne awado na sa ho da ni ko point ko scott awado ne na don ho nyo ne na de tino ho nyo awado na ge ni ko ge ko person go ho ta ge ni to na ho ni go ha and ona ton howe na ko doga na no do na ya ne awado ho dai ho ge ni ko doga to ya kyono ne ko to spa he se ronok ne awado so do ko ne skana da yo ko do ni ya ona ton ho yung yo sa ha ne scott awado ne na di tino honyo ne awado ge ni no ne go ton scott he se ronok sa to ge ni ton na ho ni go ha and ona ton ho gwadi ha ne na no do na ya ne awado na go he de handro so go di so yung yo sa na to sa to ge ho ni don shot ni shadenyo o so na denyo aso na go na ha ge sanyo once again you go ni ne do ha scott ha ne go do no ni Scott awado ne nesilo no nyo kam hide handro so di so that again you tonk na ho ni go ha and on it no way so ha kone sana award ne awado na ga no nyo me on gyadak ne ga on it no awado na di sawa sa honda go ya tin yon dak ne ga ga doga ho ni go ha so ne ga on awado ne na no way start ne awado na sa honda what gawe awado na badi show de hadoni ne ga on ton ho so e hawks na wat ko ni ton ho when you box on ne ga on ton ho ha ne gano ne wa ton ho when a day ne sa ho da na yo ne ha so ho we ko ha wa do ni so ni go ha do ga ne ga sa ho da wa do na go no yo en so e ko na sa na wat ko ni ton ho when you box on that again you talk na ho ni go ha Scano, everybody. My name's Cleveland Thomas. I was asked to sit in today for this community wellness presentation on trees. Just a short interpretation of the opening address. We gather our minds together today, and we come together and acknowledge each other and greet each other in a good way. And what we begin with is what our Creator had given us for Thanksgiving, and we're thankful that we're able to gather today and be together, put our minds together for what we're here for today. And the second part that we go through is the earth and all of the levels of the earth that is here for our benefit, everything that our creator has put here for us. We acknowledge them and we give thanks that everything's still here and still doing the jobs that they have. And then we turn to the appointed ones that he had made. There's 4 things that we believe help to nourish things on earth. The thunders, sun, moon, and the stars, they all have certain jobs that they do to help the plant life and everything on earth continue on. And we give thanks to them that they're still doing their job. And then we turn to the 4 beings. We believe that there are 4 beings that watch over us, and also the one that brought the message back in the 1800s of how we could continue to be and continue our ways and continue our way of being, and also still exist in the world that we have to today. So we acknowledge those 2 things that they're still doing their the messengers, the 4 beings are still doing their job, watching over our minds and taking care of us on earth, and also that message that we received that we still can hear it today. And then finally we end with our creator, and we believe that he's still sending his compassion to us every day and every night, and that we're still receiving it. So we give thanks to him that everything is still here for us and that we are continuing on. I also mentioned that it's a certain thing what we're gathered for the trees, and we're going to talk about the differences and the reasoning for them being here. So quick interpretation, and just wanted to thank everybody for coming on today, and that as we go along, just to keep an open mind and try to learn as much as you can while we're together, and hopefully the pandemic seems to be letting up, and we'll be able to gather again and do more of this educational resources for our people. And I hope everybody has a good day.
Nyawa for that, Cleve. So I'd like to welcome everybody to this installment of the Community Wellness Series, Sweetwater is Medicine. Just a couple of things. For the people who are joining us via Zoom, just be mindful that we are broadcasting live over Facebook. So if you do have your camera on, people can see what you're doing in the background and stuff like that. And then the other thing is we have like a zero tolerance for any derogatory, negative, or bullying comments. If you are doing that, then you may be asked to leave the presentation. So just to keep all of that in mind. So this presentation is Sweetwater is Medicine. It's being hosted by Child and Youth Health, and I'll take it over to them for them to introduce themselves.
Scanot Sogwego. I'm Teresa Sky, and I'm the ECD worker under the Child and Youth team through Health Services.
There you go. I'm Tosh, and I am the outreach worker for Child and Youth Health.
And today I wanted to talk, we're going to try and cover as much as we can in terms of what Tosh and I have put together in terms of what we were able to find, or what we could do to provide enough information to you to do the tapping of the trees, and gather as much information as we could. There's a lot of different medias, I guess, we used, and we were trying to provide that in different medias to be able to capture all that. And given in the times that we're in, we tried to do the best that we could. We used a combination, and hopefully maybe next year it can be in person. And it was exciting. It was a lot of fun. Tosh, if you want to have anything else to say.
Sure, yeah, Tree. So Sago, everyone, thanks for joining us on this chilly, snowy Saturday afternoon. I'm so proud to have had the opportunity to participate in the Six Nations Community Wellness Series, Sweetwater's Medicine. I learned so much with Tree, and I was really happy to have the opportunity to work so closely alongside with her. I had the pleasure of making new connections, and all of it was to bring this wellness series to the community and really strengthen our people. The pandemic, it hasn't been easy, but going through this experience, I'm so confident in our people and in our community that we'll get out of this together. Our hope for today is to bring some education, culture, tradition, and a modern interpretation into harvesting maple syrup into people's homes. Tree and I had the pleasure of spending the afternoon with amazing people, family, friends, and we are so happy to share this experience with you guys today. And Tree will introduce some of our speakers. So, yeah.
What we're going to do today is we're going to start off with a story. We need to really thank Seven Seeds Productions, who have had a video called Maple Harvest put together. So what we've done is we've taken clips of that, and we have first of all, we have Leroy Jock Hill, who has a story on how the squirrel found the sap, and it kind of gives a background or history to how sap was found. And we also have part of that video too. We also have a clip of Cleveland General, but we're going to start off with Jock first. Caitlin, can we start?
Nenge ne o wata o testa gaga ne swe geha ne o kiso chon kan ne again ne ahona to shat kihta ne gutone o shris ne token ho one o shradon ne gut ka de gan ne ahona daswe dan ne gutu ne Hudin hoktani ne hona wanda ohonge ne token ho ona ne oshrado ne hongwe ke ne kagon ha he ne ihe da haya do wit do na ha ye asagoya da gen ha ne kenjo kwa do kwa na kai hui se ahata hi ne ona kwa ne aha gan se crate wata ne ihe ne toya dofton ta do kwa na ni se to han skot toya dofton ne do kwa na ni se han skot toya dofton ona kwa ne ta ha gan ne junin skron ne da agata ta crate wata ni gai waka ona ne dondawas ne da toniet toya dofton hongwe ta ne hoda ni uchwa gan ne jitris hoda gaide ne junin skron da ne dogwa na ni se ona nanga ne sof tanction sa hon tono sot da ne ganyo o gas agwadi ona e toya dofton ta sa hoda ahat tu handa ona as he do sau ha the ona e na kagon hon sa he ne toya dofton da ona e nanga ahat tu ne ahaga ne junin skron agata sa crate o wata ne kai waka ona e dondawas ne da ne toniut na toya dofton ta hoda gai honi ne jitris hoda gai de na junin skron ne cha ta gatu te gakwanagre sa hoda na haganon he ne ganyo da ona gwa na nanga wa hongwe ne gwas na tak ne ona gwa na ahant na dok ne junin skron ne ahaganant cha ne god ne owata da ona gwa na tunda ha da tugwadi he to ha ne na ha ye ne ahaganant cha ne god ne owata ne gwa ne na wan da wit toga owata gri da ona di na ha nya dat ne aga ne ga ona gwa na aha ne gi ha da ona di na ge so tension go sen yo we sa ha tandi ne aga aha stroni ne te yo wajis thon ne watch ta ne aha stroni kana skwa to aha ya check right kan o wata ne ona nanga ne so tension ne ta skot ta li ha wa ne ona hon sa ha yon to no so ta de hon to ne gao ne go ya da gen ha fra ne gen yo kwa ne gao ne go ya da gen ha fra ne gen yo kwa ai ne kya to ga o wata gri da ona ne ase do sau ha the ona e tagwadi na sut kont kom sen ho ha ya na ne kana gana chwa check ne god na wata crate ta ona na hwa ni cha hwa ho da a ha chai ni gwa ni na si gwa ni ga das ni cha ni gut ta ni gut tu ni tu ni yut ha ni hat wat so kwa de ni cha ni yut ni ga ni gi ho ni hat wat so kwa de ni di ha ni hi yo he na wa da wet to ga ni wa ta gri ta ona ni tu ni yut na to ya do to ni tu ni yut to ya do to ni cha ni scano Antonio ni gutu ni so sa sta shrinda ni tu ni yut na hataya do wit ni na has ha to ga wat degree cha to no so cha ona han ni honof to do ges na ko ya da gen ha shra wa do hong with da ni ga ka yi na his ha to ga wat degree ni na do ges ka na ga a go ya da gen ha hong with da cha ni yoshris da ni on kisot son ka ni to ni yut na atadiya do wit ni cha hit ka nit ka de na ni wat degree ni na atadiya do wit ni na a hodiya daw hektak ni atana den honyo cha ni no kwatra cha hoda a hadiye na ta ga do ga ni yut asuna yuduk ta ge na ni ngwan os kyo no ni asun di ngwat swatting yat ni ga sang ngwat swatting yat ni ga dia da gwanion he ode hadoni ni wahta go won di go won da ni gwetu de sid wan hanyo kang ya de han dron segwa di so ni sid wat to e a se ton dak nik kai.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to speak to before we move on was that in the DVD and in the part of where the Cuga language is spoken, Gaikono, is that there are subtitles in those videos. However, we weren't able to capture that here, so I apologize for not being aware of that, and that's where at the end of this segment we also have Cleve who can give his input based on those segments of the video. The next part we have is we have Cleveland General, who is going to be talking in the Cuga language again, and he's going to give his version of tapping trees. He also has some other family members that are in the video with him to show how he would tap trees. Do we have that video ready, Caitlin?
We're ready.
Thank you.
Đó thì kho này có hàng đọc kho để nè sa Hong Kong đó có điều cái nhiều này qua có nhiều nè nè có để thôn nó nè nè cái nè thôn đó is nè học cầu đó còn đó thì nè kho này cái thôn nó họ bị nè tôi có tôi học choát nè tôi tôi ha ủa nè có gì nè xuôi cái ha không có này họ đi stock cho cái sky nè tôi nó có này của đây nè có nó cho họ nó họ đi stock tôi có nó cho ni yon đó nè cái nó có này có gì để cái này vào hết nè số đây vào giờ cái này quên đi hàng cái hàng đó này con đồ đó thôi nè ở xuống đó看的vào到chỗ này họ đã có ở đây này chỗ này số tôi nè số cao đó nhá chân nó nhọt kỹ này đó yêu được to kỹ đó là điện suy hệ thôi nhớ nó vào quê này xong như hoa này cái ý ở cái hoa đó kỹ đó là thôi
Okay. So that's a short segment that we have of Cleve in general. We also have Cleve Thomas as a cultural language resource person who can who's willing to speak more on the content of what Leroy Jack Hill talked about. Cleve. If you're trying to talk, you're muted.
Sorry, Tree. I thought it was up after the next video.
No, this one.
What did you want me to interpret the whole thing, or?
Well,
I thought there was supposed to be subtitles on that thing.
there was supposed to be subtitles. That's why I had to apologize on that part.
Yeah.
Just
So-
summarize the story, Cleve?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically,
kind of summarize it.
basically with that story, it just tells about how the people were hungry, they were starving, and this guy went off and watched what the animals were doing and learned from that, and that's where he seen that it was the branch was broken. He was eating the sap from the trees, and that's where he got the idea to do that, to take from the trees for sustenance. And then that's kind of how the story of how we got it. And so they developed different ways to tap the trees and to access the sustenance that it gives. And there's a lot of different things that it's used for, that we use all of the trees for. So it's kind of the same thinking as we have. We look to those things, and that's where we've learned from. We've learned different things from animals. There's other stories like that, similar to that we've come across, where we watch what they do or watch what they're doing and how they do it, and then learn from that. So it's a teaching in itself about how to look around at what's around us and learn from it. And also that the creator had put a lot of things here for us, and sometimes animals show us. So basically the summary. But yeah, I remember there were supposed to be subtitles. That's what I was thinking when we were watching it. So I was like, translate the whole thing, but it'll take a long time. So okay.
Yeah, that was my thought too, and that's where I knew there were subtitles, but it didn't get there. So we apologize for that. And Yawa Cleve, for your interpretation of that, because that's the gist of what the subtitles were about as well. We really want to thank that portion of being able to have those clips from Seven Seeds Productions, because it gave the gist of where it came from, and with Cleve and what he would do, to now where we're going to step into a more modernized way of how things are done in terms of tapping trees and how the maple syrup is harvested. And we've had the opportunity to work with a community member. We know that there are other people who are out there who do tap trees and still harvest the maple syrup. So what we did is we were able to connect with Dave Sowden. And Dave Sowden gave his version of how he became involved. And he's also included his family in terms of how they take it on as a family thing to be able to go through the whole process of this. And he's also brought on a family friend named Stan Wesley and his family, who have come to join them from time to time during this maple harvest for them. And it was fun. It was like a live taping. So we're not movie stars or anything, but we tried really hard to capture as much as we could in terms of the gist of the day and the gist of the information that we really wanted to present to the community and see what it all entails. And as much as an individual that conclude or includes family and friends that come together to learn the process, but also to share as much as they can, because it was so much fun. We had a beautiful day. We did it on Family Day. The sun was shining. We were in the bush. We had snow on the ground, and it wasn't cold. It was nice and warm. So I just wanted to give you the kind of day that we had out there, being able to do this part of the video with Dave Sowden and his family, and Stan Lee and his family. Caitlin?
Are you rolling?
Rolling.
Okay. Scano, my name's Teresa Sky, and I am an ECD worker with the Six Nations Health Services Child and Youth Team.
Zigo, and I'm Tosh, and I'm also an early childhood development worker for Child and Youth Health, Six Nations Health Services.
Our facilitator is going to be Dave Sowden, who is going to talk us through. We're going to have interviews, and we're going to see how he taps his trees and harvests maple syrup.
All right, so we're about to tap some trees along here. I know Tosh was asking about which trees and all that, but we'll get to that in a second when we actually put the taps in. So the job here, I guess right now, is to figure out which trees we're going to tap. So I know Marky knows some of the trees that we have because we've done this before, but she's mostly looking for signs that we have tapped before, as opposed to finding a fresh tree to tap.
So Dave, what would be some of the initial signs that you've tapped this tree before and that you can utilize it again this season?
Okay, so in order to find a tree, obviously you need a maple tree. So there are a couple different species of maple trees. There's red maple, silver maple, sugar maple, and I guess firstly the reason why they tap a sugar maple is because it has the highest concentration of sugar in it. So if you're lucky enough to go out and look for trees, that's something you're going to know. If you're going to do this, you can go and look for the tree in the summer, and when it has a full canopy of leaves on it. A sugar maple will have 5 different points on the leaf. So SUGAR, good way to remember it. Yeah, red maple has 3, so
Yep.
you'll see the maple with 3 basically points on the leaf, RED. And silver is exactly that. You'll see some silver in some of the bark of the tree. Okay. Another thing over here, this one here, this tree's kind of a good example. Obviously, winter time, there's no leaves on the tree, so
A little bit bare.
a little bit bare. So there are some signs on the ground, but again, it's easy to mix up with the tree. So I've always been told that maple trees, there's a difference in the branches compared to some of the other trees. So I'm looking at some of the branches up towards the top, and obviously all the trees branches go outward, but again, kind of hard to see way up there. But a couple other things, the bark on the tree here, we're looking for very similar bark on some of the other trees here as well, but the bark actually curls out along the tree.
This is amazing. I never knew
Yeah.
that.
And in a tree that we tap, we want to tap about a dinner-sized plate tree, about 9 inches in diameter. Anything else is too small and could affect the growth of that tree and how it develops for later on.
That's really important to know. Dave, how did you get started tapping trees? What started this whole process and this whole journey for you?
So for me, it was way back in grade 7. One of our teachers there actually did this at his own place, and I put it on my bucket list. So I'm well past grade 7 now, and it was something when I moved to the property that I wanted to do, and I knew this lot was back here. So again, just I mean, when you think of the process from beginning to end, it's magical, really. So we can show Quentin how I got started. never tapped the tree before?
No.
Not ever? Okay, so actually, if you look, I've only put this in just a little bit just to get you started, but you can actually see that the sap is actually flowing. So we got to go in a little bit farther because I guess maybe before we actually tap the tree, I'll just tell you some of the equipment that you need. Okay, so
Perfect.
I use a hand drill. This drill is actually a 1/2 inch in size, and it works with the spiles that picked up at PSC or PV, what they call it now. Most of the time I use a hand drill just because it makes a little bit cleaner hole, but
Yeah.
obviously people are using cordless and whatnot now.
Yeah.
So again, what we're gonna do here is we'll get this started off. Okay, Quentin, I'm gonna get you to put that drill in probably almost where it gets shiny here. So what you're gonna have to do is put your belly down here, kind of angle it upwards, start cranking.
Little fun fact, Clinton is also in grade 7.
A little bit down, yep, and then kind of put it right into your belly and push it up, and then turn it the other way. Yep, good one. Okay, keep going, push on it. You can push on it as hard as you want. And keep going, keep going. Keep going a little bit more. Awesome. Okay, so now if you just kind of very easily turn it out the other way and just a little bit, and then pull that drill out as you're turning it. It'll pull all of the filings out. Okay, pull it out. Try to keep your down and then pull it back out in the same direction. Keep turning it. Pull it out, pull it out. Yep, good. Okay, so now you can see that the sap has already started to come out. We've seen that before it actually, we got the hole too deep in there. Okay, so this is just going to go in here like this. Give it a tap. So it should come out. I think it's got to go a little bit further in there. And you can tell that it needs to go a little bit further because it's so, we shouldn't be able to pull that out with hand pressure. So I'll get you to put that back in there and keep going, keep going.
Have you done this before? Have you done it with your hand and
Okay, that should be good. Back it out now.
is it?
Yeah, and then pull it back out. Yep, good. This should probably. See, now we can't pull that out. So just give it a second and you'll see it start to drip.
Ooh, it's dripping.
Normally we're going to put the pail on there so it's got the hook on it and it hangs on there. Put a lid on it so it keeps all of the animal stuff out of it, and animals and twigs and anything else that might fall.
Yeah.
But my kid comes out with me all the time, and her favorite thing to do is to come over and actually almost every tap that goes in, she has to try and sample the
Of
sap
course.
coming out.
You
So
have to sample it.
It's good.
awesome. So again, Mark tries just about all of the trees just to make sure they're up to standard. We put this on and
Marky approved.
Marky approved. Put the seal on.
there we go. And we sit and wait.
So how much sap would a tree like this produce?
Okay, so it depends on the day.
Yeah.
What we're hoping for is sub-zero temperatures during the night,
Yeah.
and then plus temperatures during the daytime. So today I believe it was somewhere around 5 above to 8 somewhere in the afternoon. So this tree on anywhere between 5 and 8 degrees Celsius during the day will fill that pail.
Okay.
Okay. Couple other things too, just with the tap. I always try and tap on the morning sun, first part of the afternoon side of the tree, just because it catches the most kind of sun in the morning. Some trees can hold, if you get bigger trees than the 9-inch dinner plate size. This one's a little bit bigger. I might put another pail on the other side there. It'll still produce the same amount of the sap out of the other pail or from the other style as well. And yeah, so now we sit and just wait, and that'll fill up. And I try and get out in the morning before the sap starts to flow to empty it, just because it'll run over. So one thing I always tell people, or anybody that has questions about it, you have to remember that this is, I guess, the lifeblood for the tree for the first part of the spring, and the buds that come on. It's making leaves to clean the air so that we can breathe fresh air. So I don't like it to spill over. It's one of the most important things for me to actually make sure that I do every day is when the pails are on to get out and empty the pails.
Awesome.
All right. Make sure that that's on. Not a very fast trip on this one yet. You'll see as we go down the road here, some of them will be a little bit quicker or whatnot. And it just has to do with this. I was always told too that if you can tap above a root in the tree,
Yeah.
it's might produce a little bit more, but hit and miss, I guess. All right.
Dave, at what age did you start bringing your kiddos out here with
Oh
you?
gosh. Okay, so I have a 17-year-old,
Yeah.
and it's funny because I actually have a video when he was younger than Mark. What was Mark? Or late, probably about 5. And Mark did the same thing. So she's been out here probably, I think that tree has four different years. So she's 9 now, 4, 5. She'd have been 5.
5.
Yeah, so. This one was your tap. You should get first dibs on the juice that comes out. Just let that run off of there for a little bit. It's a little bit dirty. That other drill's a little bit. All right, go ahead, try it out.
And
It's good.
Hey guys, I'm here with Michelle and
Marky.
they're going to answer a few questions for us about tapping trees and what it means to them to be out here in the bush. So start with Marky. What's your favorite part about being in the bush?
Eating hot dogs and drinking sap.
Eating hot dogs and drinking sap.
how come that's your favorite?
Because it's food related.
Because it's food related.
So true.
Yeah, can't argue with that. How important is it to you to come out here and help your dad and your mom with the process of tapping the trees?
What do you do when you come out?
Drink the sap.
Drink
What
the
else?
sap?
Do you have other roles?
Eat
Tell
hot
Tosh.
dogs.
Tell Tosh some of the things you do.
Try not to spill the sap when we take it to the pail.
Try not to take the sap. Yeah, so what kind of responsibilities and roles do you have when you come out here with your dad? Do you got to carry all the tools? Are you tapping the trees? Yeah.
I tap trees.
I see while we were walking out here, your mom asked you what kind of tracks did we see in the snow? How did you learn to identify the tracks in the snow? How do you know which animal belongs to which track?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yes.
He's a vast wealth of knowledge, your dad.
He definitely is, Mr. Sowden. When we need something, we go to Mr. Sowden. And yeah, he's taught Mark about what to see, what to look for, the trees, to identify those trees. So her and Layton, our oldest, have spent number of years learning.
So do you think when you're older, this is something you're going to keep doing? Tapping trees? Yeah. Yeah.
And you have a bunch of family that you can go and bring and help tap trees, right?
So Michelle, what's your favorite part about the whole process, about being out here?
I'm not sure that I have a favorite part, but I just the fact of being outside is rich in itself. And so I've always thought that earth-based, land-based is exactly, well, that's who we are. And so when you tap trees, you're actually, there's ceremony behind it, there's purpose to it, you're getting medicine. So you're getting the sap water, and then what we do as our family is not only are they learning skills, they're also sharing, they're also out in the bush. I mean, earlier we seen them all playing together, they're using their imagination, so there's a whole bunch of skills, opportunities, activities that are associated with tapping.
So the whole thing, I guess, would be your favorite part.
Yeah. It's different too each year, right? And actually the fact that we're on this log, it wasn't here last year.
That's
and
right.
so again, it really reminds me of life. Things are going to change. Everything happens for a reason. So, yeah.
Can you tell us what your thoughts are on the community and families learning from this type of land-based education?
I'm going to say again that as Ungohoe people, this is what we should know. And I understand, and being a student myself, there has been a lot of colonial structures and well, colonization happened to our people. And so it would be nice to see, and I'm hearing more and more families being outside, and I don't know if that's strictly based because of COVID, but the fact that people are actually going on the land, putting in their gardens, tapping trees, it's nice to hear, it's nice to see. Yeah.
For sure. So with that in mind, with a busy family life, how do you find the time to be so involved out here with Dave and Marky?
So we know that February and March is going to be a busy time, and we know based on the calendar that this is a time that we will focus outside. We will spend 3 to 5 weeks outside and getting up in the morning to ensure that we don't waste the sap, because sometimes you'll see the pails are overflown. So we have to make sure that we're punctual. I say this because my good friend Stan and I, we talk about Indian time. And Indian time is actually being punctual, right? Because we need to be out. We need to not waste. There's things that we have to do. So yeah, tapping trees teaches us a lot. And it's also a nice time to be with family because, as you say, we are all pretty busy. But yeah, for this time, I mean, a month and a half out of the year, we spend a lot of time in the bush.
Yeah, so just ensuring that being out here is a priority.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also with that, then in the physical activity,
Yes.
though, there's just a whole snowball effect of coming out here and being out on the land. So, right, Mark? No, but I honestly, like, the whole imagination, the whole fact that everybody's outside, it's mental wellness, it's balance, right? It's just, even when we're not tapping, we're out here.
Yeah.
So it's also teaching the kids about not only in so-called mainstream way science, right? I mean, they learn about the trees, they learn about the seasons.
Yeah.
So there's just so much learning that happens when you're outside. So fortunately for us, we have a Mr. Sowden.
Mr. Sowden, you have this beautiful land, this beautiful
Yeah, and he teaches us, right? Because
outside classroom.
his family taught him, and we all have, and this is what community is about. We have people in our community that are willing to share their knowledge, and that's who we are. As again, Ungohoe people, we need to start to bring that back, and even after the sap is has run, we will boil it, and we will share it.
Yeah.
We don't, it's trades.
Yeah.
Everything that we've done has been trades.
Yeah.
And so that barter system, and that barter system still exists. So if we can bring back a lot of the ways that we used to do,
Yes.
I think we, our people will have opportunity to find that balance.
What's the personal impact of being a part of this process and having your friends involved, your family involved, future generations involved, maybe grandkids, and just being out here?
The impact is tenfold. There's just so much that we learn. So every year we actually bring our family as well as friends, and then people hear, oh, Dave's tapping trees, and so we have other individuals who come on out, and you know what, it's building that circle, it's educating people on what it means to tap, and really the importance of trees. I mean, trees provide so much for us, and I think we miss that when we are just busy with our day-to-day life. So it teaches us about respecting the earth, respecting the trees, and realistically how we should interact with each other and the environment. So I always say it's pretty simple, but we've made life pretty complex.
For sure.
So I'm not saying that we all need to be back in the bush, but I do think there is importance of being back in the bush, and if you have the means to do it, by all means, get out there, even go for a walk. If we do that, I mean, look at our health issues, right? Obesity and cardiovascular disease, all of it. I mean, I walk every day. When we're out here, we walk. I mean, we do have the side-by-side, but still that's realistically to carry, because I wouldn't be able to carry all those pails. But yeah, it's there's just so much benefit and positive.
And the mental health effects
yeah,
of being out here.
yeah. There's the mental health, the physical, you name it, you can find a benefit of being out on the land.
And that's what they say too, that the Creator, He gave us everything we need to be well. And He gave it to us right here.
Yep.
And we need to be thankful for that.
Definitely. And I'm not sure, when Dave does tap, I mean, he lays tobacco down, and we are thankful because, we don't even know if the sap will run. And so the fact that it has today is we are thankful for that, because know not only our family will drink the sap water, but community members need it too, and we share, like I said, that whole reciprocity. There is just, what you just said about Creator gave us what we need to survive. It definitely is here.
I'm thankful that we're able-bodied to come out here and be together. Hello, I'm here with the Stanley Wesley family. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Mandy, and this is
Banana.
Nona and
Maya.
And I'm Stan. We are the Wesley family.
The Wesley family. So, what's your guys' favorite part about being in the bush?
I have to say it's so beautiful and peaceful out here.
It is.
And there's a certain type of tranquility and it's spending time with people that we care about and that we love, and being in nature. There's definitely a peace that you find here.
The pandemic's been hard.
It has.
So to be out here and be safe and participating in ceremony, which we're not familiar with because we're Cree from up north. The thing that we tap are juice boxes. We don't tap trees traditionally. So to do something traditional with friends and family means the absolute world to us.
And what's you guys' favorite part? The little ladies on the log.
We like being back in the bush.
I like the
did you guys get involved with Mr. Sowden and this whole process?
Well, you can answer it again. I've known Dave and Michelle for years, and it was Dave and Michelle. They just called us one day and said, "Why don't you come and tap?" And we've been here ever since, and it's been absolutely wonderful and so easy to engage people if we ask. And that's what Dave did. Asked, made the invite, made us feel welcome, and yeah, we love coming out here.
Yeah. So what is the engagement of what does that mean to you guys? Whether it be with the animals, the trees, the family.
I'd say it's definitely engaging with nature.
Yeah.
Being out here in the snow, under the beautiful big blue sky, just being surrounded by the trees, beautiful energy, and engaging again with people that we really care about and love, and doing something that we've come to love, really.
Is it the syrup or the sweet water you guys love, or is it just the general process?
I think it's all of it. It's a very multiple step process, right? Right from I think Dave and the kids were tapping some trees and then gathering the buckets and boiling it down, and then even actually Dave, they're so generous, the Bonberry Sowden family, and they always put aside a couple of the bottles for us, and I love baking with it and cooking with it, and today, for instance, this morning I baked a bunch of maple pecan butter tarts.
Oh my goodness.
And Mandy loves to bake with it. I love to eat it.
Yeah.
And it just tastes even better because we know that it was tapped by friends. And we had a very, very small part to play, right? And one thing I love about it is just sitting around the fire and telling stories, and visiting and hanging out, and it just makes me think as well, just historically, because we've never done this with the Cree Nation and Innu Nation up north, but could it have been that our ancestors were a part of it at some point, walking through? Or visiting, or we were welcome to attend some ceremony during this time, just makes me think about my ancestors. Did we have a very small part to play, or did we sit in that same spot with friends as invited visitors? Right? It's just it's such a powerful feeling to sit with friends from a different nation, but yet to feel like family.
Of course. So, how important would you say that feeling, or that inner feeling of that, having that interconnectedness, or just being connected? How important is that to you guys?
Well, there's so much strength in sitting and being a part of just sitting in nature and breathing in the air, and during this time feeling safe, right?
Yeah.
And it's been such a confusing time for a lot of people, very lonely time for a lot of people.
It has, yeah.
But not here.
Not here. It feels like things are just at bay here, just as they should be.
Yeah. You can be sitting around the fire for an hour and not say a word and just feel so much connection. Eh?
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely some healing happening. It's healing of the spirit and of the mind. It's really good. It's really good.
I agree.
Yeah. And on behalf of the Crees, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, she made that.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Thanks, Tosh.
Yeah, no, thank you guys.
So that was our interview with Dave Sowden, our facilitator of the tapping of trees, and the Stan Wesley family. Again, we had a lot of fun with this interview, and brought back a lot of memories for myself. And I had a maternal grandfather who always tapped trees, and when we'd get to the point of boiling, we'd always go back into the bush and I know what Marky says when she likes the hot dogs, because that's what we would do, is have a wiener roast outside and in the bush, and just play back in the bush and help gather the sap. So I really enjoyed this part. Tosh, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, when Marky said about the wieners, I was like, oh, okay. It threw me off, but I can definitely relate. Yeah, I just want to say, like, many meows to Dave Sowden for sharing his knowledge, his space, his family. We appreciate it the time. My kiddos were there too with me. It was just so much fun. It was so, I don't want to say it's a lost art, but I feel like it's definitely something that we could use and need more of.
Yes.
Yeah, so just thanks to Dave. Like, it's like looking at the video now, like just seeing like how much love he has for what he does and for his family and his friends. And he was like so open and like sharing what he had for us, and sharing it with the community, because he knew what the intent behind of us being there was. So, and he was just, yeah, he was very on board. And yeah, I went to Stan, who provided us with the footage and the laughter. Huge thanks to Dave and Stan's beautiful families, their wives, their partners, their kids. They're so amazing. The video wouldn't have been as fun, or the time spent wouldn't have been as great without them. It was a really positive experience, and we're so happy that we get to share it with everybody that's here today. We really want to ensure that we're bringing this type of education and kind of like cultural relevancy and content to community members. We hope you guys learned as much as we did. We're aware that many families do, and people within our communities, or our community, that do participate in tapping trees and participate in the tree ceremonies and giving thanks. And we're just here today to strongly encourage community members to engage and learn in any capacity, and to continue learning and participating. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that with Dave's passion, it definitely showed in his presentation. Another reason why we did the interview with him is Dave does lead a busy life. He is a trainer for the Halifax Thunderbirds, and we in planning this whole event, it was a possibility that he would have been on the road with the team. So that's why we had to do an interview like this. And I think now that Tosh and I have done and are familiar with doing a presentation like this, we can only get better and do things in a way that community can learn, because that's our main focus, is that being able to share it with all of you, so that you have an idea of what we learned as well, and wanting you to learn the same thing. I know that Land Base on Third Line has also done its first tapping of trees this year. And I know that there is another relative, he does tapping trees, and like it's not a whole lot of people that do it anymore, but we need to be thankful for those that do. In the bags that we have, there is, we were able to get some maple syrup to provide in the bags that we are given. And that was done by Deb Aaron. Deb Aaron is from here, but her partner is from up north. And they do their production up north, and it has, I think, an Ojibwe name to it. What the name is, but I didn't have it on hand. But it will be in the bags that that people have an opportunity to get. So with where we're at right now, we do have a little section with, as again, a part of the video that we showed with Jock and Cleveland General. Ariel Harris also gave a little snippet of, in terms of her experience as a little girl in helping a neighbor gather or tap trees and gather the sap. Is that something we have ready, Caitlin?
Tosh is going to be sharing that one.
Yeah, actually, it's Ariel's story, and she kind of shares her experience within the longhouse and maple syrup and the whole process there. So I'm just going to share it now.
Time to have our sap dance at the longhouse. She would take so many jars. Not just her, but everybody would, whoever had sap, I guess, they would take it. And they would put some in our mush, put some in a pail, and that's what, they mix it with water, and that's what they would give us during our ceremony. We have to give thanks for our syrup, and we gotta say, Yahweh, Sugayadiso, Tus Saknikya, Haya Wendy, E to Musagits Godak, Musaknikya, Neskat and Watwadasi, Chushrat. That I said, thank you for this, for letting me drink this maple sap water. And I hope that I can drink it again. Next year, I hope I'm well enough to drink it again next year. And to give, for me to be here again next year so I can do the same thing. Drink it again. So that's what we would say. Everybody, some people don't understand Indian or can't talk Indian, but the mothers, they would tell them, you have to say Nyawe. That means thank you.
And I think with what Ariel ended there is something that, again, we need to really consider and be thankful for what we do have here, and what the Creator has given us, and be mindful of that. So many times we tend to forget, and that's something that being out in the bush really got me to think differently in terms of what actually we were doing out there and what the Creator has actually given us to be thankful for. And is there anything that you wanted to add to that, Tosh?
Yeah, Dave talks about it in the video, that how he makes a point to ensure like the sap doesn't run over the buckets and that it doesn't like overfill and nothing's wasted, because he had said it's the blood of the tree, and he just makes a point to ensure like nothing gets wasted. And I think, and to Ariel's part, speaking to that, just being thankful, because everything that we do need to be well and sustain ourselves and take care of ourselves, it's here. It's out there in the bush, and utilize it and be thankful for it so we have it again. So yeah,
it was definitely something that was a exhilarating experience for me.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I loved it.
I think for where we're at now, we're going to go back to Cleve Thomas, and Cleve Thomas is going to talk about the tree ceremonies that we have, and kind of generalized information of what happens within the ceremony. Are you there, Cleve?
Yep, I'm here.
Guy.
So with our ceremonies, everything begins in at midwinter time, and at midwinter time everything's resting. So when we gather, we're asking for those things to continue on, everything that the Creator has put here for us, and we're also giving thanks for the past year that everything came to be. And so at midwinter, when we're praying or we're asking for things to continue on, we say about the winds will change. At that time, when the winds will change, it'll warm up. And also, there are certain things that the Creator has put here for us, the animals, all these other levels of the earth, that we look for different of those changes when the winds will change. So it all begins then, and we acknowledge the past year, and we ask for those things to continue on. And one of the things that we ask for is for the trees, and we really say that it's like a sisterhood that they have, that the trees have together, that they're the way they relate to each other, because there's a lot of different levels to them as well. And so they start at the smaller trees, at the pole-sized trees, and they go up to the bigger ones. And if you put that in your mind, like how much variety there is and how many levels there is to that there are a lot of different uses that we get from them. And so like the poles and different things, the smaller ones would be like having use of those for certain things, our houses, and then the bigger ones as well, with all the different uses that we have. And at that time, that's what we're asking for, that new ones grow and that everything is good again, everything comes to be again, that the Creator made it. And we also acknowledge that there is a leader for the trees, and it's the maple, and that's what we look to for sustenance, and it'll come again, it'll get fluid flowing again, is what it literally says. So we ask that happens when it warms up again. So from that time in winter until now, when it starts to change, the process is that that the women are to watch, the women that help run our ceremonies watch as the season changes, and they watch along as everything's going. And it's up to them to decide the date for when we'll have our ceremonies. Here at Six Nations, we have two different Onondagas and Seneca Longhouses. They follow a certain cycle, and then us, and then Lord Cugas, some differences in the Longhouses and the way that do things. So in most of the ceremonies, there are two ceremonies for the trees. The first one is called putting the sap into the trees, and then the second one is that giving thanks. So first coming on, that first ceremony will be done, and there's certain dances and there's certain things that we do at that time to acknowledge the trees and to ask for them to be fruitful of everything that they have, everything that. And then after after the time of the sap running, when it starts to change, there's a certain things that you look for, and the bugs will start to come out. And when the bugs start to the sap, that's when you know it's almost time to finish up. And also that it'll start to get cloudy, and your sap and your syrup won't be as good anymore. So when you see those things start to happen, that's when it's time to wrap up that cycle. So at that time, the Longhouses will gather again, and that's when they'll give thanks, and they will take that drink around, what Ariel was talking about in the video. So that's how they do it. And for us at Sour Springs, it was a little bit different. We had different things happen, I guess, in our past. And what our Longhouse had done is to roll it all into one, the ceremony for the trees in the middle of the season, I guess. And what they say is like we're acknowledging them in that way. And it might have been because we got poor, because of the traumas that we went through the assimilation processes, and the way that we still conduct, and we still had to have it. We might have just had such poor times that we had to do one ceremony where we couldn't fulfill that 2 ceremonies. I'm not really sure about why we only have the one, but that's what we're thinking, is that we rolled it in one. But there was a lot of others that were changed as well for us because of the influences or the things that our longhouse went through. So with our ceremony, we have certain dances that we do, and we acknowledge the trees, and it's kind of like we put things through for them as medicine for them to have the strength and acknowledge their uses and everything that we look to them for to continue on. And then also we acknowledge what was said at the midwinter time of the tobacco, and that we give thanks that we're seeing it again, and then we'll ask for it to continue on. Also, we'll ask for the people that are out in the forests and working to gather sap and to process it. We ask that everybody is a well-being and nobody gets hurt. There's a lot of different things that can happen, accidents, or things can happen with the winds, because at this time the winds are so strong. The winds are changing as well, but they're also strong at this time. So we don't know if there could be a branch or something that falls. We don't want anybody to get hurt. So we acknowledge that. We ask that everybody is okay who might be collecting sap, or also using firewood, getting firewood, because when you're boiling sap, there's a lot of, what it says in the language is that they have fires everywhere in different places, and that means like they would be boiling sap. So acknowledge that too, that if they're cutting trees down and such, that they don't, nobody gets hurt. So I think that's more or a lot of the gist of it, I guess, of the ceremonies that we do for the trees and that Thanksgiving. What it really does boil down to is that we are always giving thanks, and we're always asking for things to continue on. And in our culture and in our ways, that's what everything comes down to. Every day we're supposed to be thankful for what we see. Every day we're supposed to be asking for things to continue, for our health to continue, for everything on earth to continue. And that's what our opening is about. And that's why we use that, because it reminds us to be thankful. And it also reminds us that we have a place in creation, that we're not the dominant one. We're just a part of it. And that everything here has a reason for being here, even us. So we have to look at that. We have to always remind ourselves with that opening, with that Thanksgiving address, that's what it's about. And even with that, we can talk about the certain times of the year that we're going through. Like now, we would be more specific of the things that we're seeing, that we're getting closer to this time of things starting to spring up from the earth and from all the things we asked for. So in that sense, it becomes very simple, and it gets back to our core beliefs and our core teachings that we're told to be thankful and to be asking for. It gets really simple. Also, to be always taking care of each other and watching out for each other, making sure that everybody's well taken care of. Those are really strong principles that we're supposed to have as Haudenosaunee people. And with that, I think that everything that we have, and I don't want to go too far and I'll start to ramble, everything that we have and everything we've been given, we acknowledge the Creator, that He put all these things for us here, and He gave us ways to be productive while we're living on Earth. And all of those things that we acknowledge, the Great Law, which is our teachings, are one of our oldest teachings, and that is we have a circle and we have a house, and we're supposed to be taking care of everybody within that. And so all of these things that we have are within that circle, and we have to protect it, but we also have to make sure that we put our energy into it, and make that we put our energy into what we were given as Ongwahome people. And when I think of in a larger sense, like we've been very lucky for what we have, that we still have all of these ways and all of these things that our ancestors had passed down. And when it comes when it comes to tapping trees, like we had a lot of these things. A lot of this is science that is not in the outside world. And when we think about it in that sense, is that where our sciences are important. And when you look at it in that lens, that we understand how things are and we understand why they are, is more important than the scientific outside world telling us. And those things we need to make important for ourselves again. And I think that's what a lot of the work that people are doing now is, looking at those and realizing how fortunate we really are. And so just encourage everybody to make sure that you try to learn as much as you can, because that's what it's all about. Just about learning and about educating our people and understanding who we are and what we have, and to be thankful and to care for one another. So I think that that's the best I can do as a short overview of our ceremonies and our relationship to the trees. There's a lot more that we can get into, and there's a lot more information out there. So I encourage everybody to try and learn and try and seek out that information as best you can. We also had relationships, like you said in the video, the Crees, we have those relationships with other nations and how we relate to each other. The Anishinaabes, we have agreements that we're all supposed to be equal to what is here. That dish with one spoon is one of the treaties, one of the agreements we made between nations before contact. And we had those agreements, and we had acknowledged that we're all equal to everything that's here on the earth, and that we're not supposed to fight over things. So even when that's happening, you have to have that respect for each other. And if there's trees somewhere that you want to tap, you would go and talk to the people that are there first, whether it's our own people or if it's other people from another nation, that we would look at those things and we would make sure that we use respect and we use that compassion and caring when we engage people. So I think that, to wrap everything up, is the basic thinking behind it, to be thankful and to ask for it to continue on, and to have that respect not only for ourselves but for what's out there in the natural world, and make sure that we're relating to them in a good way. So that's about all I had. If you have questions, I think they're going to have a question period, so you can ask questions then, and we'll take things up.
Okay, yeah, Cleve. And I think that throughout this presentation, we've kind of had some similarities or repetition of a message, and I think that in throughout this presentation, we talk about being thankful and maybe taking a look at what we need to be thankful for and what the Creator has here for us. And I really appreciate and thankful myself to be able to be a part of all of this, to be able to come together and provide, I guess, a glimpse of what tapping trees and maple syrup is all about. Like Cleve said too, it's there's a whole lot more that's out there, and it would have been awesome if we could have had an in-person and learn about this in the bush. But we tried to bring you the best that we could, and it's always said you do the best you can. And at this time, this is the best that we could do. However, I think that given this one that we have done now, we can only get better and be able to provide more in terms of what you want to learn, or what you want to know. Like Cleve said, I'll iterate that. There's a lot more education out there that can be learned, and it's sometimes at the tip of your fingers. And with that, Josh?
I was just gonna say, so when this idea was presented to both Tree and myself, like both the wheels immediately start turning in our head, and we thought of what we knew, what we didn't know, and what we wanted the community to know. And I feel like Cleve, in such like a humble and honest and respectful way, like really embodied in his words, everything that Tree and I was trying to convey to the community. And it was just, it's all about empowering each other and being thankful. And it has been not on purpose, but that has been the repeated intention and message within this from the beginning to like the end of this whole process was empowering education, our people with our resources. So yeah.
Yeah. And from there, I think that before we go any further, before we get to the other part of it too, there's a whole lot of people that we need to thank. Yamagoa to Dave Sowden and his family, Stan Wesley and his family, Seven Seed Production for the video clips that we used, and for the other individuals on the that helped us with the background.
Aaron, Caitlin, Jody.
Technology in order to pull this all together. Jody Hill was a big part of that, being able to pull those clips and give those highlights. Caitlin, they're whizzes at the technology, and we provided the information, and they managed to clip everything to pieces. So
also too, she's kind of like our heart behind this, right? She gives us the go. She's our backbone, you know. She really empowered us and uplifted us to do this. So Aaron Hill, what up? Charlton Youth, what's up?
Yeah, and I think encouraging us. And the other part is my coworker and Tosh, and being able to pull this all together. It's been a real pleasure and I really appreciate the work that she has been able to bring to the table in order to get this done. So as the collaboration has really been a key for us to get this done. So yeah, Yamagoa to everybody. I think what we're going to do right now is we are coming to a close. And do we, Tosh, you have some information? Or are we going to go into the questions and were there I think maybe your dog had something to say.
I think so. 2022, what are you gonna do, right? Zoom and come home. If you want to jump into any questions, I think somebody's here, so he's not gonna stop anytime soon.
If anybody had any questions, we can.
I don't think there's any on Facebook.
I just want questions or comments or anything like that. Sorry, guys. I had to switch rooms.
I just wanted to acknowledge Lorraine's comment, and Lorraine, continue to learn. That's all I can say. And we appreciate your comment.
I think one of the things too, like in acknowledging also like Lorraine, is that, you know, that's a really big reason why we chose to do a series, not only because of the stuff that was happening through the pandemic, but also thinking about the cultural teachings and the aspects, right, of what it means to have, you know, like Ganaquio, and acknowledging all of our roles and responsibilities in this continuum. So like, you know, I think that sometimes in these modern ages, it's really hard to bring forth the ancestral knowledge into like the 21st century, right? And I really feel like doing presentations like this and using those videos of those elders, you know, really brings it all together. And I'm so grateful and so thankful for all of the people. You know, in the comments section, I talked to Terry Lynn. I know that she's a beekeeper, you know, and a seed keeper. So, you know, bringing forth that all of that knowledge on how to make honey and just the ways that we just are able to sustain ourselves and like I said, bring that knowledge forward and hanging on to those traditions. It's so important. And I just wanted to take the time now to thank the child and youth team. Tree and Tosh, you know, worked really hard. We've worked with Stan and his family before, and they're always amazing at everything that they present and the wholesomeness that they have. And I hope he's watching. Hey, Stan. And
What up, Stan?
yeah. And yeah, I just really wanted to thank everybody for all of their knowledge and everything that you all bring to the table. Without all of us working together, you know, this stuff doesn't get out there. So thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So with
all
that, yeah, go ahead, Tosh.
Okay, Tree. So I'm just going to give you guys some information regarding our wellness boxes. Tree spoke a little bit about them early on in the video. So we wanted to let everyone know that to everyone who pre-registered for this event, you'll have a chance to win one of 10 wellness bags. And we have some exciting news for you that we also have 15 additional wellness bags that we would like to give out to anyone who joined us today. To enter to win, you have to enter the draw for bags. Please email Caitlin at snacos@sixnations.ca. She can drop her email in the chat. If you could email by Monday, March 15th at noon, 12 p.m. Those who pre-registered get an extra chance to get a wellness bag if they send Caitlin an email as well. And in those bags, there's some maple syrup, there's a bucket, there's a few other things. So yeah, just be on the lookout for that. Pretty sweet, and I hope you get to utilize the spout in the bucket if you get one.
And with the coloring contest, is that something you're going to?
Yeah. So in the bags as well, you'll find a coloring contest, and in there you'll find a flyer. I'll just try to see if I can pull up the information pertaining to that. So in the bags, there's a coloring contest. If you could submit a coloring page, and it's also included in the bag with your name, your phone number, and a brief description of what you learned here today from the Sweetwater's Medicine Wellness Series. You could also win one of 4 $50 gift cards, and you can drop those off at White Pines at the front desk to Goldie.
So with that, if Caitlin, is there if somebody didn't get your email address, can it be dropped on someplace so that they can still tap into it?
I have put it in the Zoom chat and also on Facebook Live. So if when the Zoom closes, you can head over to our Six Nations of Grand River page, and there's a comment with my email on it.
Okay, thank you. And with that, the deadline is on Monday at noon, the 14th, right? Okay. And then we'll have, once the names are picked, then we will have a pickup place for those.
Yes,
that
we'll send that in the email if they win.
Okay.
Are you able to show us what's in the boxes or tell us what's in the swag?
I can tell you.
Awesome.
We don't have, I didn't take a picture, but there is a bucket, there's a spout, and there is pancake mix and little bottle, I think it's 250 mils of syrup from Deb Aaron's company.
Mm-hmm.
And then some coloring pages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There are some that had buckets, and there's a few that didn't, because we found out that we thought we were ordering 15 and only 10 came in a kit. So there may be 5 bags that have the syrup and pancake mix and the pages.
Enter to win. You still get some syrup and some pancake mix and a chance to win another $50 gift card.
Right.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So have we covered everything?
Teresa, I think there's one thing I forgot.
Okay, because you can come up next, because that's where we're going to end. If we pretty much have everything else covered, and then you can close.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I forgot that one of the things that I wanted to talk about was our prophecies about the trees too. And one of our prophecies in our message that came in the early 1800s was that there were certain things that we were going to see with the changes of the earth, and that one of them is that the maple tree will start to die from the top down. Some people have probably heard this a lot, I guess, and some maybe have never heard this before. But I was up in doing a presentation, and one of the elders from Nipissing said that they noticed their trees have been doing that, have been dying from the top down. They think that it's the pollution from Sudbury, but they're not sure, or like North Bay in that area. So when I was doing this presentation, and it was about our ways, and what we have is that's one of the things that he mentioned, that up north that they're starting to see some of that. So in the past few years, we've been kind of monitoring it and watching, because we have to watch for when those changes are starting to happen on the earth. And there's a lot of different things that will happen, but that's one of the signs that things are starting to change. And I guess just for people to have that in their mind. But I also wanted to let everybody know, as a community initiative, that with Protect the Track was formed after the chiefs had done the moratorium, and their mandate is basically to look at what is in the track and try to look at how we are good stewards of this area. And one of the initiatives that they just started was for people to take pictures of their maple trees. And so I think that they're on social media. I do have the campaign thing, but they're on social media on Twitter, and I think it's like hashtag what is it? Let me just double check. Hashtag Owata 2022 tree monitoring, maple tree monitoring. And so if you participate that, I think that they have prizes for like maple syrup starting kits and stuff like that too. But what they're trying to do is have everybody kind of watching and looking for that sign too, and just get the idea into people's heads that these are the things that we were told, almost 200 years ago now. So that we might see, and it's just one of the initiatives that they've started to try to get information, and also to get people participating and having those talks about what it tells us in our ways and our culture. So just wanted to throw that out there, because I had thought about that earlier, and I was thinking about where we're walking today, and that actually one of my trees here at the house was like that. It was dying. I think it's more because it was planted too close to another tree, but there's a lot of different things that can cause that. So when we talk about the opening and we talk about all of these things and how they're connected, one of the things we're looking at is the waters, and how that can affect the trees. Like, drought can cause them to die from the top down. So not to get into a whole lot of detail, but everything's connected. So everything, when something is deficient, or something is polluted, or something is, not doing the things it's supposed to be doing, or not doing it in the way that they're supposed to be doing it, that's when we have issues all around, because we're all affected by that. So whether or not it's the water or if it's a, you know, if it's a land or whatever it is, it's still going to affect all of the things, the animals, everything that's here, and in turn affect us in that way too. So we have to be ready, and we have to be watching for those signs too. So I forgot that I wanted to add that in when I was speaking earlier. So just wanted to throw that in before we close up. But is there any other questions or anything before we close? I just wanted to make sure we're
Was it
okay.
called Protect the Track, Cleveland?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I can share. I have the thing, but I don't think I can share the. Yeah.
But
I'm
you
not-
have Caitlin, you have Caitlin's email, don't you?
Yep. It's on. I think they're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Protect the Track. But I can send her the flyer that they have. I just don't
Yeah.
want to try. I just don't. Yeah, Protect the Track. I don't want to. I don't want to try and open my share screen and then
Yeah.
lose you. So.
That's okay. Understandable. But yeah, I would suggest to send it to her, and then she can put it in this feed too.
Okay.
I don't see any more questions, so I think that we're at a point to close.
Okay. And ona na ni dage ji so da hon sidio sky kwa ko so pado. Ne ge ona tan ho ji doi ho kan to sta ho dan sum go wi ko no honyo. Ne ge han ge we so ska go do we no ni ska do wa do ne na go ni go ha so. Ne ge tan ho we na ho ni shwe ni and we he ko na ha wa do ne na ha ji do dan ho nyo da to gen yo ko na ho go ni go ha. And ona to ho go di na no do na ya ne wa do once again no ha di ti no ko. Ona ne Daniel sa honda na ni so goi honda aso nange ni luk dagi na so go te sa honda na hot ka we ni ko to sa honda na ne sa honda so goi en 20 Scott ona ne ni twi no ni goi go ni don ho nyo ne sa ni yo ne ha da once again ko no ha di ti no hon ko da to gai ni to na ho go ni go ha and ona to ho go di na no do na ya ne wa do gi ni go dagi ha do ya no ne ko tong ska ha se ro ne wa do sa do go ne ska na da yo ko do ne ga hin ge we sa ne ga ona ne ga ni ruk ta ge ska ha ne go do we no ni ska do wa do ne na do so yi tin ho nyo ne wa do ge ni go da ge ne ko tong ska ha se ro da to ge nyo tong na ho go ni go ha and ona to ho go di na no do na ya ne wa do na ko hi de han jo so we di so in ge we sa ha ne aso to sa to ho ge ho de ni down shra ni should Daniel was in Daniel Nige on it on Honiga, Hinga shot Scott had name, but away in Oni, Scott Awado, does a Sudono, call he day had just away this so that again you talk now who want to go home. And on it on home his way hawk on and go now, what the way and end up on a nice and the word Queenie had need now, Wado, but no and way hawk on a Hawado now, who can song go who want to go hot song. 80 Honegas and Howe, Hodai Hon, Go Hawado, Sonka Dogan, Hoskanoke. Ne o hando ho churi nyong gates and we ha kona hawado ne nas union he ne sa honda go ya di on that again you talk now ho gone go ha anito
Yahweh.
Yeah.
I think this draws us to a close. If Caitlin and Tosh and Aaron can stay on and finish up.
Yeah, everyone.
Yahweh.
everyone.
See you all next time. Ona.
Yes.
Fiona.
See you next time.